In the Field updates on Market Journal are supported by the Nebraska Corn Board. We'll begin by an update out in the field here as we are in Custer County today. Here's our In the Field update. Our In the Field update looks a bit different today as we've got cattle behind us and we're out at a pasture checking on pasture conditions with Jordan Popp just south of Broken Bow, Nebraska. Jordan, tell me a bit about the operation.
Yeah, so we're mainly a cow-calf operation. We do raise some corn and soybeans, hay some alfalfa, sorghum Sudan grass, and we do have some cover crops that we've used the last couple of years. So what we do is, like with a rye, we do that after chopping silage, and I did some on after soybean ground this past year. For triticale, I've kind of used it in a two crop system with haying sorghum Sudan grass right after we cut down the triticale, and so that's kind of worked for us really well.
It's probably been a while since you've seen pastures looking this green as they do today.
Yeah, it's been a couple years. That's something I was talking about with you earlier, is that night and day difference between especially 2 years ago and last year to this year. I mean, we went from everything out here was brown and just had a hard time going. This year, I mean, the cool season grasses really took off once we started to get some more sunlight, but with as much rain as we've gotten this past year, or especially in May, I think we were like 8 inches or so of moisture, and last year people were kind of wondering, like, do we need to turn the pivots on before we get in the field, or are we going to really cut down on our cow herd? And we got 2 inches of rain in the beginning of May, and that kind of we got lucky with a lot of moisture throughout the summer, and we made it. Our grass looked pretty good at the end of the year, but people were still really hurting, to just a lot of pasture health concerning, and so this year has been a really good rebuilding year for pasture, and I know that's kind of been also a hard time getting in the field. I felt like when I was planting this year, I did it all in the dark because, you find a planting window and you just take it, and it was a little wet, and we took what we got, and there's still some people that we're mainly done with everything as far as row crops go. I've heard of some soybeans in around Sargent that still have yet to go, and maybe a shorter season corn variety for silage for people to plant. But yeah, it's a completely different year for moisture goes, and it's really nice and to be able to look back and actually see some green grass in the pastures, and it's a lot more reassuring in that way, I guess, for a rancher.
Yeah, I'm sure that rain is welcome, but we're approaching a challenging time because I'm sure you're wanting to get in the field and get some hay cut.
Yeah, and I think we probably would have cut our alfalfa probably a good week ago. It's been ready, and just I know some around Ansley have cut their hay down, and unfortunately have got it rained on, and I don't know, it's one issue versus the next, and depends on what your attitude is, and I think we're a lot better off, but we still also have to have a lot of rain throughout the summer. And
kind of describe your soil type, where you're at here. I guess you're not technically yet in the sand hills, but I have to imagine you've got some sandy soils at least in places.
Yeah, and we live in a pretty unique ecological range in Nebraska, and so we're only about an hour north of the Platte Valley and an hour south of the sand hills where we sit. And so our pasture is hardland pasture, really good grasses that are able to grow. A typical stocking ratio is about 8 acres to 10 acres per pair, which is a really good number. And like I said, the last couple of years, people kind of had to really push their pasture probably a little too much, and this year you kind of have a little bit more breathing room. But cool season grasses are really taking off, and the biggest thing is that we have a lot more soil moisture for this year. Over the winter, we did get some adequate snowfall, and I felt a lot more comfortable going into planting and going in or taking cows into pasture. But then, yeah, as soon as it was April and May, we kind of recovered our subsurface moisture levels, and we're a lot better off. So
Yeah, it's good to hear. Jordan Popp, south of Broken Bow, Nebraska, is our guest for this week's In the Field update.